How's it going? Welcome back to the Film School Dropouts podcast. You have myself and Cole, and we're joined with an incredibly special guest. We're doing something very different for this episode and for episodes to come. We're going to be doing a series called Cast and Crew, where we pick the brains of industry professionals, get some insight into their experience in the industry and things like that. And today I'm so honored to have a very, very special, prolific stunt woman on the show. You've seen several movies and TV shows that she has worked on and been a part of. Some of them are probably your favorites. She is a 3-time SAG Awards nominee. She has been in the industry doing stunt work for over 24 years, working on over 100 films and TV shows. She is the founder and president of Stuntwomen United, and she has doubled for the likes of the Olsen twins, Kelly Ripa, Jessica Simpson, Dakota Fanning, Kristen Bell, and Hilary Duff. It is none other than the wonderful Miss Tina Mckissick. Thank you so much for being here, Tina.
Thank you, Tina.
Oh, thank you. What an intro.
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you doing?
I'm great. We're so honored to have you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. I have seen your stuff already, and I love it. And so I can't stop watching. So I'm like, oh, good. You're invited. This is so great.
You're invited
so
whenever
honored.
you want.
Thank you.
Thank you for the support. So we met, you and I, Tina,
Yes.
on a little show out in Atlanta.
Night shoot.
Yes. Yep. A night shoot.
Fun.
You came up to me. I remember this so vividly. I was making you a coffee.
The backstory.
I was PAing on this show. And so they were like, hey, make her a coffee.
Oh my God.
Which I could make it myself. I felt so bad. I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, I'll make a coffee. And so I'm making your coffee. I asked how you liked it. And you came up to me and you were like, oh, it's so great to work with you again. And I was like, okay. Like, I didn't know what to say.
Oh wait, we had masks on, didn't we?
What's that?
We had masks on, didn't we?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, we might have.
Go ahead.
But I remember I was like, I don't think I've worked. This was my first industry job. I had never worked in the industry. So I was like, there's no way.
Oh, that's just the way I meet everyone. I say that to every single person I meet now.
But I just like, I didn't know what to say in the moment. So I said, oh yeah. And I gave you your coffee and I felt so bad that later I went back and talked to you and I was like, I don't remember us working together. And then obviously it sparked a fantastic conversation and we're friends to this day.
That's Jay.
And then here you are.
Here you are.
The worst or the best part, however you want to look at it, is that we got to talking and they kept calling you away and then they kept calling me away. And I was like, I don't want to work. I want to talk to Andy.
Yeah.
Because we had just like so much to talk about.
I know. Yeah. It was a great conversation, like right off the bat. One thing that I really appreciate about you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the majority of the people on that set really didn't know who you were in terms of like what you've done in the industry, right?
Oh, no, I don't ever tell people.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
you fly very much under the radar.
I do. I love that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's really cool too. Yeah.
You just described me. I just like to fly under the
We exposed you.
Yeah.
For as many cool things as you've done, I like I said, it was my first industry job, and you were just sitting here asking me all these questions to learn about me. And at first, I was just like, "Oh, she's like such a nice, like kind woman, like interested in me." And then I remember talking about Severance, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I was, Patricia Arquette's stunt double," and I was like, "Who are you?" and then that just immediately told me so much about your character that, for as successful as you've been, you're still really interested in little old people like me,
Oh my God. But no, you're not. It's just so amazing because I can already tell, like, just you encompass this energy that was just vibrating. It was just like, just even you walk around with your coffee, I was like, no. And I think I even asked you, I said, I know you're doing this now. What is it you're going to do?
Yes. Yep.
And I think you said, I want to. And I said, no, you're going to.
Yes. Yeah.
So what, right?
Yep.
Because that's the way you have to look at it. But I was like, I know you're going to do something. And I said, I can't wait to work for you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know about that.
I cannot wait to work are you?
I can see that. I can say.
Right?
I can't. So yeah, I will forever remember that. It was one of my favorite experiences in my life. And I just remember, because you told me that you were like, yeah, I used stunt. I did a lot of stunt work in New York for a while. And I remember I said, oh, are you up to date with what goes on there now? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, because Severance, my favorite show, just got filmed there. And you're like, I was in it.
Oh, that's how that started.
Yeah.
This is the thing, though, is that I really wanted you to tell me how that stunt driving went, because I never watched it.
It's incredible. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it, because here's the thing. I don't have time right now to sit and watch anything, and I can't find it.
Yeah.
But I know I did a lot of driving, and the reason I want to know is because it was the first time in my 24 years I've ever gotten to work with the Russian arm, which is the camera and the car. And it was just me and him. Yep. And he was close, and he would swipe the windshield and come around me. And I just had to pretend he didn't exist, yet going really fast. And all these
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, I want to see what it looked like.
Yeah. Have you seen Severance?
I have not, but I heard about it, and I really want to watch it now, especially now that Tina's here. I have to watch. I'm so sorry, Tina.
It's really good.
Before I do, tell me if the driving looks good.
It looks incredible. So that car that you drove is an older car. Oh, it's not like a modern car. Do you remember what kind of car it was?
It was a AMG, like an AMG. Does that sound right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a picture of me with an AMG. It was an 1980 something. Right. And they had two of them.
And you said there was no speedometer, right?
None. And they kept saying, we need you to keep it at so-and-so. And I'm like,
okay.
I really hope I'm going about that. I don't know. And, you just try not to complain or say, well, I can't, because so you just hear action, you do your best. But that car, I hugged that car. I'm a car person. I love cars. I grew up, my dad, he actually restores cars. He owned a towing and salvage yard. Oh, wow. My dad, when I was in high school, he could put a car on two wheels. Like so he's a car guy. And I'm not like, oh, that's a good looking car. I'm like, hey, car. And I hug cars. Because there is a bond you have with your car, and you know that. Yeah. And it's just, I loved that car. She was incredible, and she gave it her all every time. Yeah. And there would be times that like the gear shift would just completely fall out.
Oh, is it a manual?
No,
automatic.
The gear shift.
Okay, I got you.
Like just to go from park to drive.
Okay, gotcha.
She was like, no, and I'm like, honey, we have to go. She's like, no, and they're like, go for stunts, Tina. What was happening? We called action, and I'm so there were like moments like that, and then they would come over, and then of course she'd start right up.
Oh,
do we have a problem? No, I'm just kidding.
She was just saving her energy.
Yes, but she did so good. I loved that little car. Yeah. So many times I want to buy the cars, after I drive them. Because all they do is crash them.
Yeah. And you do a lot of those car stunts, huh? Like I was reading that you were in the Indiana Jones movie, and you were in the Irishman doing the car stunts.
No, I did I apologize to interrupt you. I was I didn't get to do the car stunts. I was running away from a car, so I apologize if I wrote that. I was writing quickly, and I mushed it all together. I'm sorry, I did do that. I mushed it together.
No, it's okay.
So I put Indiana Jones, and then I was like, and I drove the car, and then underneath that was Mrs. Maisel. So I dubbed her Christine. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you're still in the movie.
I'm running. I almost got run over by a car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, big time.
That actually leads into another question I had. Is there any point where you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Like, this is just too crazy. I don't know if I feel safe about this. Because you said you almost got hit by a car. Does that happen a lot where you're like, I don't know if I want to do this stunt?
Every single time.
Oh my gosh, really?
It is. It is. I'm like not the coolest stunt person at all. I'm scared shitless. No, I'm just kidding. What it is this. I did hear a stunt guy once say, if the second that you're not scared it's time to get out of the business.
Wow.
And it made so much sense because you're so on it. And when you are scared or, you're aware, of your surroundings, and you're aware when the explosion is going to go off, and you're aware of your surroundings and who's with you. But the second that you get complacent with it and you're like, I'm okay, this is going to be okay, that's a bad day. That's probably not a good, you really need to be on it and looking at everything that way.
See, I thought you were going to say the exact opposite. You're like, no, I'm confident. I know that I have to do this stunt. That's crazy.
No. Not at all. No. The confident, I think there's a difference, but being confident is being knowledgeable. And the second that you get as much information as you can, and with that, whether that being rehearsing it, knowing where you're exactly when the explosion is going, working with everyone as a team, or even if it's just you making sure everyone around you is safe while you're doing what you do, knowledge is power. So that once you know everything you can about a stunt, and this is what gets me, this, I will say this, that, well, I can't say it's more prevalent now, but it kind of is that you have back in the day, and I'll keep saying that because I can, but back in the day, we had a movie. There's so many movies I worked on, right? So many television shows that were on ABC, CBS. It was an hour show. And that's what we did for 2 weeks. You shot that. You had all the time. Now with streaming, you have Hulu, Amazon, Netflix, Vibe. You have so much content. You have a lot more shows.
So much work. Yeah.
So much more work. Yeah. But it's so much more condensed. It's so much more quicker.
Yeah.
So they want to do it fast. With stunts, that's something you can't rush.
Totally.
It's going to be the same
interesting point.
Yeah, it's going to be the same stunt that it was 10 years ago when we weren't rushing, but now they want that same stunt.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Minimal amount of time because of the cost, because they're they don't have the big budget like they used to. They're giving so much money for so many episodes, and that's it. You got to bang it out. So I feel nowadays everything's a little more rushed, and so you really need to be on point. Now, I mean, you always did, but just really watching more now because things are quicker, and I feel like things can get overlooked a lot more.
And that's why it's important to work with a great stunt coordinator over you, right? Because they do the bridging between a director and producer saying, hey, we need to get this done at this amount of time. And the stunt coordinator, if they're doing a good job, is saying, hey, to make sure that we're doing this correctly and we're doing all the safe protocol, we need this amount of time, and we can't really compromise on that.
Exactly.
And it probably makes those scary things a lot less scary too, right?
Right. But if those coordinators would do that, that would be amazing, right? And it is hard for them sometimes too. So understanding that, I get that, but at the same time, the good ones, they put their foot down and they'll say, okay, no. And I've seen stunt coordinators, the good ones, say, oh, no, we can't do it in that amount of time. So we won't do it. We won't do it. We're good. We'll go home. I mean, they can, right? They're like, okay, fine. What do you need? So yeah,
that's interesting.
But it also comes down to one of the things that I try to tell people, and I needed to learn it, and it's something you need to learn, is don't be afraid to say it yourself. And Nicole, you said it. Do I get scared? And if I felt unsafe, I need to be confident enough to say, hold on, we need to hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
Even though they're like rolling sound.
There's got to be that balance. There's got to be that balance.
There's got to be, but you got to be, it's a lot of new stunt people who really want the job. So they don't know that they can just say that and stop it. And they'll just continue on, and people can get hurt, you know?
These are all interesting points. I didn't even think about this.
There's a lot.
You don't hear a lot of people talk about this.
I wanted to say, so some of my favorite things that you've been in Severance. Obviously, The Irishman is a huge movie. Indiana Jones 4. I Am Legend. School of Rock, which I think is super fun.
That is so crazy.
The Sopranos. And then even Saturday Night Live, I think, is great. I wanted to rewind a little bit and talk about how you got started in this incredible career that you now have to look back on. And you were born in Georgia, Savannah, right?
Yeah. No, Stone Mountain.
Stone Mountain. Okay.
But yeah, half my family's in Savannah, so I would go
Savannah.
back and forth. Yeah.
Okay. And you got your start on a film in Georgia, right? So
in Savannah. Yes, that was.
Okay.
Yes, that was my first film.
That was with Ben Affleck and Sandra Bullock, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so talk us through it. So how old were you when you're about to get your first gig as a stunt woman?
Okay.
Where are you in your life?
Yeah, let's go back all the way to.
And also include what made you want to become a stunt woman. That's what I also want to know. Include that too.
Okay. I think you're born as a stunt woman. I do, because the other stunt women who are my friends, they're just stunt women. You could meet them and you're like, that's a stunt woman. Like you just are it. And then there are women who want to do stunts because they want to be an actor. So they try to come in the back door, and then they're like, it just doesn't, but you can kind of tell. And I just have always, I knew I was basically, I stayed outside with my dad. I grew up on a farm. And like I said, he was restoring cars. He was working on cars. And I loved being with my dad and doing that. And I had horses and I had dirt bikes. And I was an only child till I was 15. Then I had a brother.
Sure.
But so I kind of entertained myself with that. And it was very rough, very tomboyish. And so I was watching movies with my dad, and those were the action films. And that was, like Hooper and Smokey and the Bandit. And we're going way back, right, to the 80s. And I loved that. And being in Georgia, the Dukes of Hazzards, and when they would jump the car, I was just, I could just see the car. Like other girls were watching, General Hospital and we're going way back. And I was like wanting to jump cars, right. That's why I'm saying, I think you're just kind of born with that. Like, I want to do that. And then I had to do life, which was, your normal, get a job, do this, do that. But I would try to go, I looked into doing film work and stuff like that. So I took a little class here, acting class. I got my first extra job, and that was back in like 1990.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like my very first time on set.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people I even meet today weren't even born, and I was on set. And that day on set, I got bumped up to a stand-in, which I thought was incredible.
That's huge.
My friends I had brought, they left because they hated it, and they said they would never work in film again, and they didn't. They hate it, but loved it.
You were hooked, right?
I was hooked. I knew this is where I wanted to be, but I also knew I wanted to do stunts, and it took me 6 years of being in Georgia, because back in that time there was no production in Georgia. So I just spent hours and hours sending out headshots, resumes with nothing on it, saying I can do stunts. This is, I want to do stunts. And I finally had somebody, because there weren't that many stunt women. There was like none in Georgia, really. And a film, the Sandra Bullock film, came to Savannah. And the guy who I'd kept sending to is consistency. Anything you want to do in life is consistency. Keep doing it until it happens. That's it. So it took me 6 years to get my first stunt job.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was 6 years. And he finally called and said, okay, I've got something. I'll try, we'll try, we'll see. And then from that day, that was actually July. And that's where I just celebrated 24 years was this past month. So that from that job, you meet other stunt people. And as long as you don't screw it up and, you keep your mouth shut and your eyes and ears open, that's what I was told. You get another chance. So I got hired from somebody I worked with that day on another show, The Hunley, which was shot in South Carolina.
Okay.
And then I didn't mess up there, and I got to meet more people. Right. And that's just how they slowly came. And then I hustled, went to a couple of years later, drove to, I think it was Virginia Virginia, where they were shooting the movie Hannibal. Right. And I met the Court Hessler and Brian Smythe, who they were working on that. And Court Hessler said, if you want to work in New York, or if you want to work in stunts, you should move to New York. There's nothing down here. I said, okay. So I packed up and I moved to New York. And I found him in the streets of like Queens. And I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, do you remember me?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I go, "I moved. Now you have to hire me." Yeah. So it's
That's
all
incredible.
about the hustle and just being in somebody's face and telling them what you want. And that's been my motto in life, and telling people it's always going to be a no unless you ask. Right.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
it's always just ask. And so I ended up skipped to, I worked for years in New York, and it was fantastic. And really good for me because I grew up in New York.
Yeah.
I was born and raised here, but I grew up in New York.
Right. Yeah, it kind of forces you to a little bit.
It does. Yeah. Like I came back a whole different person. And like everybody still says, they're like, "Where's your accent?" I'm like, it'll come back soon, I'm sure. But I'm not, I don't put up with anything. You learn that.
Yeah.
But I became his assistant on the Blacklist for 2 seasons.
Wow.
That's a
so that gave
show
me another opportunity behind the scenes with production and budgets and all that. So
how old are you? You start getting a little bit of traction in Georgia. You get on a couple things. How old are you when you start getting all these gigs?
Well, so if 26, 27 when I got my first job.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then you
at
take
that time,
Go ahead. Keep going.
And at that time, I thought, I'm so old. I don't want anybody to know that I'm so old getting into stunts, because in your head, you think a gymnast, right? Like starts when they're 12, 13, 14, 15. And here I am, and that's not the way. Because I even meet girls now and they're like, "Don't tell anybody, but I'm 26. I'm like, "Honey, that's weird.
You're so young."
No idea. That is so, you got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, because I feel like I see a lot of stunt men, stunt women that have martial art backgrounds. And that, or parkour, right? You hear a lot about that. And that's kind of like a segue, because you take a passion like martial arts, parkour, and a passion for film, and you marry them. And the logical thing is stunt work. I was going to ask you if you had any sort of background with like martial arts or anything like that, but it sounds like mostly it was just in kind of the stuff you did around the farm with your dad, right?
Well, yes and no. But I'm naturally athletic just because I just do stupid shit. I have to be quick on my feet because
your body adapted.
Right. Exactly. Because we're like, this looks like it might be fun. But but I did, once I got into stunts, I always believe in being very well-rounded. So I took my stunt driving classes from Bobby Orr, who was my first stunt driving, and I love him and learned so much. And then, so I did my stunt driving classes. I did anything I could do. Scuba certification. I did my scuba certification because I was doing water work, and not that I was scuba diving, but when you do that, the safety divers come up and you have to know how to use, the regulators, things like that. So I did get water work out of that. Actually, I was getting water work and I had to get scuba certified to do it. And then I did take some Wing Chun Kali and grappling. Oh, wow. So I did. And what I found out back then, we didn't have the Marvel. You didn't have, I mean, you had Marvel, but you didn't have what you have now. Yeah. So there was really no need for me for fighting. So I did it for a little while, but it was never used. Now, oh my God. Yeah. It's like, that's insane, as you know.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I did do as much training as I could everywhere, but I loved the martial arts training. I love grappling. I love all that. Right. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk to me about the move to New York, right? You're in your mid to late 20s and you're moving to one of the biggest city in the United States.
Yeah. How was it living there?
It was great back then. Like it was, I will say this, that I had never been to New York and I knew I had to move there. So I just moved there and with a friend, which was great because that's what you do. And my friend was trying to do acting. I was doing stunts. So that worked out great. But I started to make ends meet and to know that I had to have the flexibility to be able to just have a day to go do stunts. I started my own business called Odd Jobs, and I would paint people's apartments. And my friend, who was a guy, we were in a play together in Atlanta. That's how I knew him. Okay. And he wanted to do acting and I wanted to do stunts. And so we went up together. So he was the brawn and I was the brains. So I would stand out in front of one of the Gracious Homes, which is like a Home Depot, but very high end, with my cards. And he and I went and we did small construction. We put up walls in apartments. We painted apartments. We would do roofing at other little places, and that's how we kind of made ends meet. And I also worked at a bar called Brother Jimmy's, which was so you have like Coyote Ugly, and then you have Brother Jimmy.
You're doing a lot.
I spent my week painting apartments and doing construction. And then on the weekends, I was on the bars, pouring drinks, doing dances. So like that, and being a waitress. Wow. I ended up being the super of 2 apartment buildings. So the superintendent in Manhattan. So I lived in the Upper East Side for quite a while. And then I moved to Queens. And that was, I will say, this is another interesting thing that I missed, is that I moved in 2001.
Oh, wow.
July.
Oh, my gosh.
July of 2001 into the Upper East Side and was just enjoying Manhattan and Central Park and like, wow, this is so crazy. And we were doing gold inlay on this older woman's apartment furniture. And I remember we took a picture, and that was September 10th. We took a picture of her veranda because how gorgeous it was. And then the next morning, 9/11 happened. And I had worked at the hospital here and had taken my scrubs with me in case I got a job at the hospital there. Wow. And so I put my scrubs on and I went down there to, and I had only lived in New York with July, August, September,
a few months. Yeah.
And then I'm like asking, is this normal? Like, this is crazy, like, and my parents, and no cell phones work. So my parents were, of course, like, oh my God. And, but you see, it was so amazing because you just see being from Georgia, going up there, just getting into the dynamic of New York City, and then something big happens like that. And being able to see how everybody does come together was such a great, initiation into it, that's like, wow, this is solid. This place is solid, and that's why I kind of got my start in New York. It was very, it was very crazy.
Yeah.
And then you believe that you lived in New York for how long?
22 years.
Oh, wow.
That's
crazy.
Right.
Just
I think
moved back,
because I just moved back to Georgia.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Wow.
If I did the math right, but something like that. Yeah.
So you would live in New York, but you would have these job opportunities and you would fly out, or would you work?
Mostly New York. And if I flew out, they would fly you anyway.
Okay.
I worked in LA. A couple of times, and then but mostly I was East Coast, so I would work the whole coast. And
so what like productions were you working on in New York, like that were just in your hometown, so you didn't have to go anywhere?
In New York?
Yeah.
You said hometown. I'm like, which hometown? Oh, hometown. At the time? Yes,
said that wrong.
Yeah, no. So every movie that I was the main on the Days of Our Lives, I guess. Wow, I was her main double. So that kept me busy weekly because there was always slapping and stuff. This is going to fall down. It was like the easiest stunts was the soap opera. But I was her double. And then like Sopranos or whatever.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Like Rescue Me, Third Watch. I got my start on Third Watch. I worked on that a lot. And then as years go by, there was The Blacklist. Got to work on that a lot. My brain, I don't have my resume in front of me.
I can get it. I got you.
Well, no, I just wanted to know how many like were in New York, so like you didn't have to fly out. I was just curious. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I was very busy.
Would you say you had as much productions outside as well, or more productions outside?
No, always New York, because New York was
that's
really
crazy.
the mecca for because
For
this
television,
was
absolutely.
for television.
Okay.
We had some movies that kept us busy as a group, which were great. But as a whole, it was really television, 1 hour stuff.
New York
Okay.
is New York is still pretty prominent today for production. It's
very much so.
Yep.
And Law and Order, that was the
Law
other
and
one.
Order.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say
still there. Yeah,
That's so crazy.
still going. I know, and SNL, of course, but
yeah. How was it working on SNL?
I actually just worked recently.
Did you?
On it, and it is exactly what you would think. I feel like I shouldn't say, but
it's just a hoot.
I walked in, and it just reeked like it was. You walk in the door, just pot smoke, and I'm like, I was walking into this like industrial area where we were shooting like those. You shoot, how they have these pre-made, during the things, and oh my God, it was so, and just to watch, I was like, I saw Pete Davidson walk by and he's like 7'2", and I was like, oh
massive.
Like, and it's just, everybody's just so chill.
Yeah.
But when
it's
we
all
go
the weed.
it is
chilled out.
so much. And I'm just like, this is exactly what I thought it would be like.
Yeah. It's funny, even the show that we worked on together. I mean, there were times I'd go out into the executive producers, and the producers had this Range Rover that they just sat in all day. I'd go and like ask them for if they needed an order for food, and they just smoke came right out.
Yes.
So it's
and I'm
funny.
like, oh my God, okay, well that's how we create. So,
it's create and coping is what it is.
Yeah, I guess so. I just cope with coffee, so I'm like, oh my God.
Same.
How do you take your coffee? How do you take your coffee, Tina?
Oh, me? No.
yeah, you grabbed it for her. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Let me remember. Hang on. No sugar, right? Do I remember that right?
How dare you not remember?
No sugar and cream.
How dare you?
Right. Well, now I have a keto creamer that has monk fruit, so I'm happy now.
Oh, I just had monk fruit in my tea earlier.
Monk fruit?
That's what I use. I use monk fruit.
Yeah. And then what? Do you have like a milk substitute?
Yeah, it's a keto creamer, and it's like a whey protein. It's I have to promote it. I have to promote
Show us, yeah.
I will, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Go grab it. Go grab it.
Healthy.
And while you're promoting that, promote your jacket too.
We are going to be having a launch soon. This is super creamer.
Okay, I might have to try that.
And energy, and it's got no sugar, no artificial sweeteners, dairy protein, and it has MCT oil. Okay. It's keto friendly, and it's water, cream, milk, protein isolate, and monk fruit and MCT oil. Okay. So anyway,
so it's sweet.
I love this stuff. It's sweet, but it's 0 calories and no sugar.
That's perfect. I'm gonna try that because I've been doing cashew milk, and it tastes too much like cashews.
You'll like this. And besides, I had a little issue with one of them. I order it on Amazon, and I get 3 at a time. Okay. So I can just have them in the house. Yeah, and I had a little issue. I emailed the company and I was like, yeah, you might want to look at this. Not like, oh, this sucks. But I was like, you might want to pull this. It's a little, weird. Right. And they were like, oh my God, here's an entire case. And they also
lifetime supply.
And then they sent me a coffee mug that said Super Tina on it.
Oh, that's so fun.
So that's why I'm saying I got to promote it.
Yes.
I can't believe we're talking about, I'm sorry. We're
talking about milk.
That's great. I love that.
Oh, man. So I wanted to ask you, you've had an incredibly long, fruitful career as a stunt woman. What does it take to be able to continuously get work consistently at a high level for as long as you have?
I think it's just we are really a family, because when you work with these people in your department, since we're stunts department, you become family, because you really do have my life has been in the hands of these people.
Right.
And I've come out unscathed. I'm still here, and they're incredible to work for. And when you do a good job for them, and I hope I've done a good job, and I've heard I've done a good job, then they hire you again because they know that potentially is going to be a safe day, right? It's a good day because they know who they can trust and who to be there to. And I joke around a lot and I have fun but on the day I am a totally different person.
Sure.
And when they say action, my eyes are on everyone, everything. And I have, many times I've caught things like push someone out of the way that wasn't supposed to be there, or, just being so aware that that I just basically keeping us, I'm sorry, in my head, I'm going through whatever happened. But basically you get to know these people because they're your family and you work with them. And then that, I think being a small community, but we're not, but we are.
Right.
We don't have agents. I mean, I've heard there's agents and some people use an agent and don't know why. But anyway, that's a whole different story. Sure, yeah. Because we get our work from, the stunt coordinator. But I think that's the key is just it's a family. So you don't fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, and don't be an asshole because nobody wants to work with an asshole. Yeah. And as you know, how much time are we on set?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. That's all sometimes all you have to do is talk to each other. That's
and then you go home, you only see your family for 4 or 5 hours. You got to go back to the asshole for 18,
right. That's crazy. 18 hours of work.
You want to be with people that are like-minded with, wanting to make sure everything goes right and but can still have fun. And I think, I guess that's, longevity in this business is that it's harder for a stunt woman. I will say that because it's just known. Well, we're women, our bodies are different, and we don't wear knee pads and elbow pads because we're in blouses and mini skirts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my knees, I have no meat left on my knees. There's none. There's just bone.
Men get these baggy t-shirts, cargo pants, the costumes that you guys are in. I mean, even the superhero movies are in tights and whatnot.
I know, exactly.
You guys take a little bit more for sure.
We do.
You mentioned something interesting that I want to let you talk about too, where you said that it feels like a big family a lot, partly because you guys really place your lives in each other's hands and there's a lot of trust. And you had an experience recently on a show on Peacock, Girls 5 Eva. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
And you did a scene with the Property Bros, and you doubled for Paula Pell, right?
Yes, Paula Pell. That was it.
And you had an experience that you posted about it on Instagram with Scott Hoffman. So tell us about that, because I feel like that's really important to talk about and to kind of just get an idea of the risks in this industry, but also the privilege of working with people that are, like you said, they're always on it. They're a pleasure to work with, professional, and they're just really attentive and sharp. And they, you had an experience that could have ended really badly, but because Scott Hoffman did such a great job, it was actually like such a cool experience. So
and that's such a great tie-in. Thank you, because you just proved my point. Scott will be in the business for a very long time.
Absolutely.
Because although he's new-ish, he's been in for a couple of years. But he's just already on point. He's already there, right? So if I was to call in someone, it would be him. And that's why I thought, I don't like when people complain a lot in our business, because I think in our world, we could complain constantly about everything. And I get real tired of complaining about so many things. And I'm like, all right, what about the good stuff? What about shouting out the good stuff? So I was like, I'm determined to let people know how amazing he is, because in our industry, you just always hear sometimes, when people mess up. But I thought, this has to be told. And, but I was doubling Paula Pell, and it was for a big fight scene with Drew, the property brother. And as Paula says in the show, the one with the beard. Yes. So we went in to rehearse one day, but so we had to rehearse and really didn't do much, just kind of walked through the scene. But once we got on the day, I had met Scott and I had never worked with him, and he was super nice. And like I said, on set etiquette is just spot on. So nice and so kind, and just, always watching. And that's another thing is, like, as stunt performers, you need to be there and watch everything, because if something's changing, you're about to go on set, you need to know what just changed,
Right.
So always being available and not always on your phone and things like that. And he was just so professional and so nice. And I thought, okay, well, I didn't know how the setup was going to be exactly, but I knew that we were going to be in a fight. Once we worked out the fights, how we were going to do it, the stunt coordinator had said, okay, Drew's going to throw you over. This is the big gag, is that we want you to be thrown across the island. And that's the big, you're going to wipe out the charcuterie board and, really give it your all. I said, okay. So went and looked where the mats were going to be.
Right.
And the way the mats were set up and where camera was, they really wanted me to go a certain way. And I'm like, well, the way you want me to, it's sort of like, it's hard to explain, but the way I was going to be thrown was like away from where they wanted to shoot. And I'm like, okay, I said, if I can make it down this way. So we kind of talked it out. Scott was there the entire time, and not have ever working with him. I have never worked with him. I just knew he was really nice. And I had not even heard of people who had worked with him. That's because, like I said, you don't really talk about that. You just work with people.
Right.
So when we go to do it, Drew, he went to throw me, but I threw myself, and I as well. But I told Scott, I said, look, I know the camera guy wants me here, and this is happening here, and the director said this. I said, I'm going to go all out. I don't know where I'm going to go. Just watch for me. He goes, I got you. Mm-hmm. And I trusted that, just the way he said it. He was completely confident. I was like, okay, perfect. Yep. So when he said that and the way he said it, and knowing, that he was ready, mm-hmm. I felt even more confident to go even all out, right?
Yeah,
like, oh, somebody's got me. Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah.
So when I just did it, and you sort of go into this when they go, well, I do anyway. It's the most focused I've ever been in my entire life, is when they say 3, 2, 1. And when they say 1, I'm in meditation mode. My brain
Zen.
is focused. I hear nothing. Wow. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah. I hear nothing. I just know what I'm about to do. And everything's like white noise. I hear nothing. Mm-hmm. And I heard action, and I went, and then and kind of had to close my eyes because I took out a charcuterie board at the same time, which was kind of real wood and split wood and all this stuff. So when I landed and I opened my eyes, he's a big dude. Yeah. And his entire hand was holding my head right here. Yeah. He literally had to catch me like a softball. And he also so basically, if you look at it like a hot dog kind of in a bun, he had done a little thing with the pad that I had rolled into, and my head was sticking out of it, and he was holding my head. Yeah. And I looked up at him, and they were still rolling, and he goes, "I got you." Yeah. I was like, "Oh my God. Cool. Oh my God." And literally kept my head from cracking on the cement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
So you just go, wow. Okay.
Thank you
so much. Yeah. So this is, so if somebody was to say, okay, we want you to do this stunt. Do you have anybody you want to bring? I'd be like, let's go Hoffman,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm not, there's other people too that I've worked with that I just have incredible doing a stunt together. I love working with stunt people. Doing a stunt, because you both are in it,
right.
And you have somebody there, fight scenes, you're going off of a cliff together, I've done that. And it's just ready? You ready? Yeah. I went through I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. Keep going.
This was
You're the star, Tina. You're the star.
This is your day. This is your episode.
Talk. There's also this was people say, what is your scariest stunt? If you
That's what I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask her that.
I will say this. As you said, if I'm ever scared. This was one where I was working, and there was a fireman, and it was Matthew McConaughey's stunt double, and
Oh, wow.
he was raised on a farm too, so we had a lot in common. He's fantastic, so nice. And so we were, he was the fireman, and he was in the fireman garb rescuing me, who I was doubling, the girl, from a warehouse that was on fire. And we were like 3 stories up, and they had the cameras on the bottom floor because we were going to fall through the floor that was on fire.
Oh my gosh.
And so this was the setup. You don't know the setup till you're there.
Yeah, right.
And you can't, sometimes you feel like you can't say, you know what, it's
good actually.
now that you've set the whole place on fire, that production here, you rented out the space for a day. No, it's so it's he and I, we're up on the 3rd floor, very high, warehouse industrial, and all the cameras are on the 1st floor, and only the stunt coordinator goes up there with us, and the floor was it was a balsa wood floor.
Okay.
So the special effects, once we were on the balsa wood and it kept doing this, then we had to stand there very softly so we didn't break it away. Yeah. And then they would break it away and we'd go through. But the thing was, we didn't hear we can't hear anything. They're on the 1st floor, we're on the 3rd floor, and it's on fire, so they can shoot up and see us. So they have cameras pointing up, so nobody can be up there with us. So it's just he and I. Not only that, we had to put fire gel. I had to put fire gel. He had his whole garb on. I had fire gel over my eyes, over my head, so I'm blind. I can't hear anything. And he's holding me, and I'm holding him. And they scoot us out onto this balsa wood that's doing it like
and it's
this.
blowing,
Going like this, and we're holding each other, and then the stunt coordinator goes away, and I hear nothing but flames. I don't know when we're gonna go.
Why does that seem so unsafe?
It was so like, oh my god, this is the worst ride ever. I want up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like the Tower of Terror, kind of.
I know.
You never know when it's gonna drop.
No. And the floor gave way, and we went. Like, we didn't know when it was going to happen. It just did. My heart stopped, like everything. And we went through. And as we go, we twisted in the air. I landed, and then he landed on top of me, and his metal tank cracked me in the nose, and it broke my nose.
Oh my gosh.
It knocked me. I went black, for like a second. And then oh my God.
And everything's on fire.
Everything's on fire. It wasn't done. We had to crawl out. That was the other part of the scene.
Oh my God.
When we fall through, he then grabs me and we crawl through the fire out. I couldn't feel my left leg. I hit something on the way down. I couldn't feel it. So I was being dragged literally because I really couldn't move.
Oh my goodness.
And I had just cracked my nose. And I was like, it was the best thing ever, though. But I will say this. You've been in Manhattan. You walk in those grates that give away. Yeah. You step on them. Yep. I still, every time.
Yeah. You got a little PTSD.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, my
God.
goodness.
It turned out.
Were you on, did you do a firelight for that scene as well? Were you on fire? Or did you just have the gel to protect you?
We had the gel because everything else was on fire.
Have you done those where they light you on fire?
Yeah. I've never gotten to a full burn, but I've gotten to do partial burns, and I love fire. I love fire.
You don't really feel it, right? You feel like heat, but you don't feel anything on you when you do a burn?
Once you feel heat, then it's getting too close because the fire gel is actually ice cold.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
I hear being in gel is miserable.
Oh, yeah. I had to, my friend, she did a full burn, and you have one person that preps you so that because you can't have a whole bunch of people. So I was one who was.
Wait a minute. Is that why your email is what it is?
I grabbed full burn back before anybody email like it.
Don't mention the domain because I don't want to dox your email address.
You want what?
I don't want to dox your email address, so don't mention the domain name.
Okay, I won't.
Full burn. That's super funny.
Yes, I did. I did good by grabbing that years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
That's super cool. I wanted to ask you too. So you've gotten to work with incredible directors and work underneath them. I wanted to, when we were first talking on set, you mentioned, because you had just come from Severance and you were talking about working with Ben Stiller and how cool that was.
Ben Stiller.
He directed a lot of that show.
That's so cool.
You've had, I mean, countless other experiences with incredible directors. Are there any moments that stand out particularly fondly for the people that you've gotten to work with?
Oh yeah, for director.
Yes.
For director.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And you're gonna make me embarrass myself because of that. The director, the movie 50 First Dates.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Okay. Yes. Right. That is one of my. It's actually really one of my favorites.
Okay.
So he was the director for 50 First Dates. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to look it up. So anyway, Peter Siegel.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So I mean, and just I love the movie. Anyway, I had the opportunity to audition for a movie that he did, The Second Act with Jennifer Lopez.
Right.
That was a romantic comedy. That was out just a few years ago. So I did an audition tape at home, and this was the woman is coming out of a salon and she gets tripped, and then she has a couple of lines. They didn't write lines, just whatever you could throw in. But the tape that I sent in, I did because I knew it was Peter Siegel, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, this has to be rom-com. It has to.
Right.
I did a very funny, very silly trip and fall over and over and over. And I did these crazy faces and all this. I actually got the job. I got the part. And so I was like, all the other stunt girls, they were like, oh my God. I'm like, I know, but I love him. So because switched to the day, and I got like a credit in there as the customer. Like I'm like, ooh, I got a part. But he said, your audition tape. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. I love 50 First Dates. I'm a dork. But, like you just like everything I say. I was like, I love everything you do. And I love 50 First Dates, my favorite movie. He's like, okay, that's great. You're welcome. So, that thing you did in the audition? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, can you do that again? He goes, I loved it. And I was like, oh yeah. So I go and I did it. And this is the thing. I come out of the store. And I mean, I went all out, and I was on the concrete. Now at home, I had put down a bunch of pillows.
Yeah.
Because it was out of frame. Well, this wasn't out of frame, but I went all out, and I just went right all over the sidewalk of Manhattan. And all of a sudden, it was like no noise. It was dead quiet.
Wow.
And then I heard cut, and there was no noise, no nothing. And then I heard him die laughing, and everybody around him die laughing. And I looked up, and then he looked at everybody and he goes, is it right? And they were like, yes. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, you feel so good in that moment.
I know. And I was like, because I gave that my all. And if you're going to redo it again, I'll give it my all. But I really gave that my all.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And so that's
incredible.
And so I got to work with, Peter Siegel, and it made the movie, and it was funny, and I love rom-coms. So,
that's awesome. That's so cool. I wanted to ask you. I was going to say this earlier too, because I feel like a lot of people. Hopefully, there's a lot of people that watch this, knowing that you're as successful in stunts as you are, kind of looking for insight as to get started. Right. My experience. You can feel free to tell me how yours has been, but I would say that I feel like getting an in the industry is as simple as someone one time gives you an opportunity and you make the absolute most of it and you never really work again. Right.
Yeah.
So, and you said that earlier, in reference to Scott and his like attentiveness on set, like almost like saved your life. Right. But also there's another side to that where it's like you were given an opportunity to audition for this movie that you really wanted with a director that you loved, and you did something different to stand out. Right. And so you took the absolute most out of an opportunity, and it got you where it got you. Right.
Yes, absolutely. I think I could say this, but people don't listen until years and years, right? And they go, "Oh, I should have taken that advice." At the end of the day, don't get away from being yourself. Just be yourself, because I think if we have a passion to be in this industry, to be in front of camera, there's something special about us anyway.
Right.
That we don't need to dampen. We don't need to take that away. Don't try to do something else or be something else, and be happy and have fun with it. Because there was so many times I was so stressed about when am I going to work again? I can't, this, and I should have just been having fun, because you're going to work. You're going to work in this industry. You're going to work. I don't know what you're going to do, but it's
you're going to do something.
It's a very big, as you know, you're working right now.
You might make coffee for Tina McKissick. You might do that.
If you're lucky.
You better remember what she takes.
Yeah, we already have a problem. But you just, I think just have fun. It's hard to say. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's hard to say, because if I look back, I'll go, yeah, well, I was working my ass off. Yeah. Trying to, when am I going to have fun? But don't forget to have fun.
Absolutely.
And also just be yourself, and be yourself around people, and get to know people. Get to know everybody you can. Yeah. But here's the thing, not just because this is my brother, sorry, not because you want something, but because you want to know. I'm telling you, you want to know, because there's so many interesting people in this industry. I promise you.
That's true.
Talk to them. You'll find out the most interesting shit. I was talking to somebody, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I was like, so what department are you in? I'm trying to be quiet because I'm on set. He was the creator and showrunner. He wrote the entire series that's been out.
Oh
I didn't know it. Super nice guy. but that's the thing. People like that won't tell you up front, hi, I wrote the show. I'm the guy, It's just like, hey.
And that's how this whole started. I mean, Andy, you just bumped into Andy, and here we are. Now
that's what I'm saying. Like, this whole world is connected. Our world.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing world. I say, just talk to everybody. Get to know. Such great, fun, interesting stories.
It's true.
I can't wait to hear Cole's.
No, I'm ready for it.
I know. That's the next podcast.
Yes.
I know. I really wish one day.
It'll happen.
See?
Hell yeah.
But it is. It's just I think what I run into a lot is that people don't know what they want to do. And I will say, do all of it. Yep. And out of that, you'll find something you love in it. But at the same time, I wish I had started producing a long time ago, because I didn't realize that that's what I wanted to do. There's some stunt women who have to direct. They want to direct. They direct. That's what they do.
Right.
I couldn't direct. I didn't know which way the camera should point. I'm horrible like that. And admittedly, but producing, oh my God, that's
you'd be, I could see you being amazing at that.
I'm doing it now, actually, but that's nothing that we can talk about just yet.
Just yet. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll have you back on soon. We'll do periodic episodes.
Tina part 2.
Yes. As soon as this goes, but at the same time, I'm just saying, I wish I had done it. I started it a lot sooner,
Absolutely.
But you don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But I do love our people. I love our lives. And,
Yeah. Speaking of which, talk to me about Stuntwomen United. This is an incredible network that you have founded, right?
That I what?
That you founded.
Yes. So back in 2018, there was, this actually stemmed partly from the Harvey Weinstein thing that was going on. And it was I was nudged, I was really nudged, believe it or not, by some stuntmen to make sure that our women were protected in our industry, that if any freaking creepers came along, but at the same time, they wanted, they felt like a woman should helm that. And I used to be on the SAG board. I was a SAG after board member in Atlanta long 100 years ago, but only for a short period of time before I moved to New York. And I'm being a SAG member, I always voiced my opinion, and I had no problem doing that. So they knew I wouldn't have a problem saying something if I needed to. So I created this community called Stuntwomen United, and I was in New York at the time, and just kind of reached out and immediately got some emails about, some issues that maybe people had and things like that. And like, oh, this is great. We have a place, because you look at it, any company has a human resource department.
Right.
we don't have anywhere to go. We don't have anybody to talk
That's
to.
really true.
We're so alone.
Right.
You go to set, I go to set, we go home. There's nobody to talk to on set. Like there's no departments. So it's very difficult. And you see people go, oh, we'll go to SAG after it. No, that's not, doesn't. Anyway. So I created this, but then out of that, I had to really sit down and go, what do I want this to do? And once I felt like that was kind of situated, and that we, generally, it's just having a place, like I said, for the stunt women to go. But at the same time, what can this offer? Because I had a lot of people going, oh, great, a community.
Yes.
Great, like a place. And I was like, oh yeah, like I said, there's no place for us to go. So what can I offer? And then I looked back at when I was growing up in this business and what I needed. And I was like, oh my God, I needed so much. And I felt so alone and there was nobody to ask questions. So I would like a mentorship program. I wanted to be a stunt coordinator, but there was no way to do that unless somebody took you under their wing. So I want like a shadow, a way for these women to come in and shadow stunt coordinators, where generally they would have like, somebody else who was already there, like one of the stunt men, but like, hey, can you every once in a while have one of the stunt women? And they were all for it. They've always been all for it.
Right.
So I have that, like I had just started talking to them about that right when COVID started. That shut down all the shadowing and having people on set. So we're going to be starting that back up. But then equipment, there was a lot of equipment I couldn't afford. Living in Manhattan or trying to, my gosh, and not working all the time, trainings, equipment, being well-rounded. I needed to keep up my scuba certification. I needed stunt driving classes. I need firearms classes. I need martial arts.
You have to pay for all of that.
You got to pay for all that. And I need a stunt bag. So I need knee pads, elbow pads. I need a back pad. I need a gator bag. I need, like all these different types of pads for different types of outfits. Just everything, and being able to train, but also have 5-6 jobs just so I could pay my rent. Like so it's like, it was so stressful. It was so stressful for that. So those are the things also for Stuntwomen United is to provide training by doing fundraisers, which we've done. We had a red carpet event back in 2018, which was our first awards type ceremony.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
For the stunt women and like the new breakouts, and then some, veterans and things like that. So yeah, it's going good. And now we have gone international. So if we just kind of have done the reach where we've gotten in touch with other stunt women. I have some stunt women in Spain. I have some in Finland, Sweden. So cool. And we've connected that way. So we've had Zoom meetings, and one of the women who works at the New Zealand stunt school, she was on set, and they were just starting their morning. And so we did a Zoom meeting, and she was like, hi guys. And she was on set, and it was just such a great connect.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's how, it's grown that much.
Yeah.
So.
Internet. I mean,
so
having
cool.
anything like that's international is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And what I love about, go ahead.
Well, at the end of the day, we all know what it feels like before they say action as a stunt woman. But at the same time, their training is completely different. The way they do cart hit trainings, and you watch and you're like, oh my God,
right. But all that insight makes you more well-rounded, right?
Oh gosh, yeah.
So it's invaluable. Yeah.
Yes.
But what I love about it is that I feel like so much of your heart is represented in that mission, which is so cool. I love that so much.
I have. There have been times where I've come out of pocket to help buy equipment because I get it, and I'm like, just go do a good job and be safe.
Yes.
But we are going to be launching our
merchandise.
And I don't know if you saw, we just got sponsored. We're growing and growing, and so we're getting noticed more. And I had a mouth guard company, which is the only mouth guard. What's the word? See, too many concussions. That is approved by the ADA. American
Okay.
Dental
Oh,
Association. Mouth guards usually aren't,
Right,
but this
right.
one is made of a certain polymer that really helps with that impact. So the ADA actually has I can't find that word at all. Hang up on them. But they are our official mouthguard sponsor now.
That is
And
so
I
cool.
just made that announcement. Yeah. So we have now sponsors that want to help sponsor us. And so this is a way that I've found too, that we're going to be able to get equipment. And as far as training, I've been working with some stunt driving school that nobody knows about. This is a first. You'll hear about this.
Yeah.
So it's going very well. And for me, for a company to be able to just donate or offer means a big deal to a group of, however many stunt women that we can fill their bags and help them get training. And then they're ready to go to work. They're working, but anyway,
And it's cool because you get to kind of like grow your producing muscles a little bit, right? A lot of those skills in running a business apply to like being a good producer.
People don't realize it's like, I'm up till 2:00 in the morning because I have to post social media content just to keep it's relevant,
But you're doing a great job. The Stuntwomen United Instagram page is fantastic.
Thank you.
I love seeing it and seeing what people are doing and who's a part of what, and it's really cool. I feel like I'm a part of it. I don't even do stunt work.
You're good.
So,
good.
Yeah, I think.
I have some ideas I want to run by you then later. So
okay. I
do. Thank you.
That.
Okay, good.
Yes. So you've doubled for a lot of people, Tina.
Yeah.
Anyone that you've met that has been just like super fun, and you're just like, oh my gosh, they met every expectation that I had of them. They were just the coolest person.
It was surprising. I'll say who was really. Everybody's been super nice,
right?
Except one person. She wasn't great. I'm not gonna say that. But everybody's been really nice. And I will say that somebody who surprised me was Kelly Ripa. Mm-hmm. And that's because she had her show and she had a TV show and she has all this stuff going on. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to be annoying and just be like, whatever. And so I just showed up. Oh my God, she was the nicest, coolest. Like you want to hang with her. Like she's still awesome, fun. And her husband, he was there and I hung out with him, Mark Consuelos, and they were just the best fun, chill couple. Like she's just normal, like just like hangs out.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say, there is an actor who I absolutely was, how I don't get like fangirl over. Yes. I mean, it's just your job, right. You show up and you're like, but there is one person who I got fangirl, just oh my God, and I was like, I got to get my picture with this person, and I was working on Amy Sedaris. Mm-hmm. Amy Sedaris at home. I was doing a stunt on that show, and this guy he was hold on, I'm looking up his name because I want to give him a tag. Sorry. And I'll show you a picture of him too. And everything I've seen in him and I love him. So he did his job. Did you ever see Couples Retreat?
I think I might have.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I love that guy. Yeah.
Yes, right? Fangirl, right? Like I just it's so funny. And I can't say his name. Peters.
Oh yeah.
Sarah.
Sarah.
That's what I'm saying. It's Peter something.
Peter S.
But, he literally, he was the tech too.
Yeah.
So he did his thing, and then I went up. He was leaving. They were taking him back to his room, and I got a champagne bottle smashed in my face. Mm-hmm. I was it was the Queen of England, and I get this champagne bottle in my face, and he stood there and watched that, and then they were taking him away, and I went up and I just said, I need to talk to him for a second because I've missed my opportunities before in years past. I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. Right. And I stood in front of him, and he is like 6'7". Wow. Like he's very, very, very tall. And I said, I'm so sorry. I said, but I don't fangirl. I've been in this business over 20 years. And I said, but I am fangirling, and I have to tell you, I absolutely love every single thing that you've done. I love your work, and I just have to tell you that before you leave. So That's it. Like,
That's
I don't know
it.
what I was making it fast. And he grabbed me, he goes, oh my God. He goes, thank you so much. He goes, that means the absolute world to me.
Aww.
He goes, it really does. And I go, oh, well, then can I get my picture with you? And he's like, oh my God, yes. So we took all these fun, silly pictures together. And he was beyond my expectations of everything. So yeah.
That's so cool. I feel like you can get away with that because you're just so authentic. You're just like,
I'm like, excuse me, come here. So, whatever I gotta do.
Well, Tina, it's been such a pleasure. Any other closing thoughts that you have about working in the industry at all? I feel like we talked about a lot.
Yeah, we did. I'm sorry. I did talk a lot, but I'm just like, here's a story. Let's talk about
that's exactly what this is for.
We wanted you to come and talk. That's what we.
Well, thank you, because I get very I get very excited still about what I do, and
that's
to
incredible.
This day, I'm supposed to work on a stunt, but I literally will go. They'll put me in the honey, and I will go in the honey and just be like, "Oh my God, I'm working again!" Like, I'm so excited. Like, I'm working. Like, I'm doing another stunt. Yeah. I don't know if people ever get tired of it, but I just haven't. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful, so thankful for all of it, for every day that I get, and I'm just like very happy. But
that's awesome.
I don't know.
That's how I know that you're doing the right thing. Yeah, I feel like.
But I get very excited. So you get me talking about stunts, and I'll do all day long. I got stories forever, and then sometimes I feel like I start telling my stories, and people are like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I'm like, and then.
I'd be the person to be like, keep telling me. I can sit here all day and listen to it all day.
Yeah. No, we're like, keep going.
No, I love it. Thank you for listening.
And it's so cool to meet someone that's a stunt person. I've never met anyone that's done stunts in the field. So it's so cool to hear that perspective and that job. It's just so interesting. So I'm very happy I met you. So.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I feel like I left out so many people and amazing. Okay. There is an amazing group of people and very professional and this really needs to be recognized, and I know the Emmys have finally started to recognize us. And it's so simple. It's so simple. People are like, oh, but the Oscars. I'm like, screw the Oscars.
The Oscars.
Emmys recognize us, right?
Yeah. There should be an Oscars for stunt people.
Really, but if you think about it, my big thing is take anything you watch, commercial, anything, take out extras, background, and stunts, and see what you got.
Right.
So,
you have a very boring, empty shot.
Yeah. So, but I say, let's just embrace the positive, which is the Emmys, and I can't be, so thankful for them. So
yeah, that's sweet. Well, I feel like also don't feel too bad about not hitting everyone that you've worked with, because I mean, with as much as you've done, there's no way that we could condense that into an hour.
I know. I know, but I feel like it's that whole thing. Like, you're gonna hang up and be like, "Oh, I didn't talk about this." That was the whole point.
That's what part 2 is for.
Yes, I was going to say, we'll have to have you on multiple times. You'll be like the recurring guest. Like, you know how Joe Rogan has Elon Musk on every now and again?
I can be your Elon Musk.
There we go.
Elon Musk.
Well, I do want to, we got to promote the merchandise.
Yes.
So, the merchandise. And then I'm trying to think, making sure if there's anything else. There's like one other thing.
Yes.
Merchandise. No, I think that's, the mouth guards. Yeah.
Mouse guards.
I have a website.
Yes.
We have a website.
Stuntwomenunited.com.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
And you can purchase now, but we are just about to do our big launch. So there's
cool.
Awesome.
Can I buy one? Can I wear it?
So excited.
Yeah. Oh God, you guys of course are getting. And don't forget.
Yes.
What's the name of it again? The
Super Creamer.
Super Creamer. Okay. I'm gonna get
There's all different kind of flavors: caramel, vanilla, everything.
I'm gonna take a video on Instagram of me wearing the Stuntwomen United hoodie, drinking my creamer, and I'm gonna tag you in it. Oh my gosh, Tina, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. You're just the most enjoyable person to be around and to talk to.
Oh my God, I love. Thank you. I love talking to you guys.
This is so fun.
Yes.
So-
I think that was the problem, that I'm just like, oh, I forgot we're doing a podcast. I'm just,
Yeah, that's why I love podcasts though, because they're long form.
Yeah.
You know, it can go as long as you want it to.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
true.
We could go for 3 hours, but I don't know.
You're going to cut this down to 8 minutes anyway. So
No.
There's no way.
you're just going to hear me. It'll be like, and floor. Creamer.
Creamer. Merch.
On fire. That's it. On fire.
On
Yes,
fire.
on fire.
Crash in the car.
That's the cut.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, we can't thank you enough. You're incredible.
Yeah, thank you so
for
much,
spending
Tina.
time with us on here.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to see your next one and everything that you guys do. And I wish you the best in all your endeavors. I really do.
yes.
And being in the industry as brothers, you let me know whatever you need, and anything, anytime, I'll be there and get it for you. If I can't get it, I'll make sure you get it. So if you
You're the
need,
best.
Thank you so
you
much,
need more
Tina.
interviews
That
with
is-
people or whatever I
It
can
means
do,
a lot. Seriously.
ever, just because what you guys are doing is great. I love what you've got going.
Oh, thank you for being
And
a
I'm
part
not
of it.
interested in podcasts very much, but when I'm watching you guys, I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, they got something good.
Oh, that's great. You know what's funny is I don't like podcasts either. Actually, I've never listened to podcasts.
That's the thing. This sucks. No, this no. That's why I like this one.
Yeah,
So,
we try to have fun. We try to have fun.
Yeah.
And I knew you'd be perfect because you're so
Exactly.
fun.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
Yeah.
goodness. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure with Tina. Hopefully you guys got a lot of insight into what an incredibly prolific career in the industry looks like. And we look forward to talking to her again soon and hearing the next endeavor that she's a part of. But
She
until
will
then,
be back.
yes.
Yes. Well, thank you so
Yes.
much. All
Yes.
right. And I'll be talking to you guys soon. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll catch you guys next time. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.